There's been a rise in cases of learners experimenting with space cakes, with most left sick and others hospitalised. Some of the schools that have been affected include Randfontein High School in the West Rand of Gauteng and Mamellong Secondary School in Tsakane. For more on this, we're joined now by the spokesperson for the Gauteng Department of Education, Steve Mabona. Steve, very good morning to you. Thanks very much for coming on what is an incredibly worrying story. And one thing I need to get the department's reaction on is this assertion by students that they had no idea what they were eating. I mean, for us to get to the bottom of this, we need to know the truth of the story. Is that a story that you buy?
Look, good morning, Michelle, and all our viewers. There's two cases. I mean, the Randfontein one, which involved about 11 grade 12 learners. They knew who sold them those cakes. It's a grade 12 that has already been suspended. And surely they knew what they were buying. We will not buy the issue that they are saying they didn't know. The second incident, which occurred on Saturday, where it involved about 4 grade 12 learners, they say they bought from someone that they don't know. Well, we will, investigate and check, veracity of those allegations. But we're involving the police in this case, and in the second one as well. We think that we must involve the police because there's an element of one knowing what is selling, and we need to know who is an adult that that person is working with.
So how do schools respond to what has now happened at these two schools, Steve? Do they introduce stop and search? I mean, how does one clamp down on this kind of event?
Look, it's something that is concerning now because it's, we have some incidences which have been reported before. So schools need to be vigilant. That's why we are saying to parents, they need to assist us, because once you transgress the code of conduct, then the SGB and the parents need to assist us to make sure that learners do not transgress. So such space cakes or, muffins that are sold, they must not be allowed to be sold at our schools. So that's what we will be encouraging, the SGB and the school management to make sure that these things are not sold at our schools, because they are now a problem. Learners are, taken to medical facilities, and, in Randfontein, 2 learners were so critical that we could have had bad news, but we are assured that all those learners, they've been discharged in Randfontein. The only learners that we have in hospital are the ones that are in Tsakane, and we are assured that at least by today they should be also released from the hospital.
Yeah. So perhaps a blanket ban is what you're talking about there, just a blanket ban on learners coming to school with any kinds of goods that they want to sell.
No, we cannot do that, because remember, the SGP manages the school environment, and they are the ones that will say this is allowed, this is not allowed. But as a department, we encourage them to review, selling of such, most especially these muffins or cakes, because it's a well-known fact that they are, laced with dacha and some substances. So
yeah, and I think you
we will
can
really
smell it,
encourage
Steve.
them to stop it.
You'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can smell it if something does contain cannabis.
Indeed. That's why we are saying they must not be sold at our schools, and that's the message that they will be passing on to the SGBs, and because we are very much concerned about what is happening now, because it's becoming a trend, which if we don't manage it now, we'll end up losing children.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve Mabona, let me thank you for your time this morning, giving us some clarity on what is becoming a worrying trend at schools, particularly in Gauteng.